Welcome back, guys. We're going into the highlights of game number 2. This is where it all turned around. The clean knockup from Toby. Lahens baits them all in. And Hanwha Life, they were ahead. You know, they weren't way ahead. They were about 3,000, 4,000 gold. They were peaking there, but they had massive momentum. They were looking to take inhibitors, and it goes against them.
You still would have to say the betting markets would be closed on Hanwha Life Esports winning 2-0. They wouldn't have been taking any new bets because it seemed like it was over. We were waiting for them to kill the game. We even thought that, hey, Vlad, Aurelia, GP, they're going to be able to close it. But one fight, and specifically the inability for Hanwha Life Esports as 5 to close the game with a smart engage. They couldn't flank because they were in the enemy base. And every time the Nocturne and Shen ultimate came down, good things happened for Griffin, and in particular Chovy, who was the biggest cleanup Yasuo we've seen in ages.
Chovy and Viper, the two of them, these guys are the guys you want on your team to do the carrying, to play the carry roles. The rise in the bot lane with the support of the Soraka, along with Chovy in the mid lane to farm up on that Yasuo. Once they finally hit their power spike, they were popping off like no one. Chovy is unbelievably clean, and Viper just the same. They're both really fantastic, mechanically skilled players. And, you know, Griffin, if they can get their teamwork together, this team is going to be a powerhouse.
If I remember back to promotions, I said a few times we're going to see this really cool again, bringing up the minions, closing of the game. Griffin in lane often fall behind and rely on their team fighting. I don't know if that gets it done 2 out of 3 times against Hanwha Life Esports, and then welcome in the top 5 teams in the LCK, and it doesn't get it done, Valdez. So yeah, they still need to tighten up their early game, but in team fights, they were monsters.
Yep, biggest surprise here is actually that the Trundle did more damage than the Janna, but enough of that. We also saw that Linderong did the most damage by far on the Gangplank. He's trying really hard to, get to the top of the charts and carry his team.
And even though we see solid hands in tears, we don't have the full context on that, but obviously probably feeling sheepish about dying a lot. He did 3,000 more damage than the Nocturne. His silences were on point. The MVP is going to be handed over to Lahens after all. Very interesting to see.
I mean, you were talking about his silences, right? The Vladimir tries to engage and silence just shuts him down. Silence in this meta is actually really good when you're thinking about, melee kind of bruiser champions who like to cycle their spells and engage in that way. The silence from the Soraka getting its money's worth in this game.
And you might say narrative MVP lol, but the reason why I think Lahens was a bit unsung in this game is, yes, him getting picked really accelerated the game for Hanwha. It looked like it was going to be over. There were so many fights where after the Nocturne ultimate, Sungyun said, all right, boys, it's my time. I'm popping my movement speed. I'm going in for an engage. And the silence, and sometimes the root, stopped him from ever being able to influence a fight. That silence, instant cast, very hard to spot in noisy team fights, was actually a game changer multiple times for Griffin.
And the little thing it said above him in the Korean said, through his mother's heart, he won the game or something like that. So I think I saw his mom was actually down here at the studio. May have explained a little bit of his emotions, but enough of that. We are going to go into pick and ban for game number 2. Hopefully he can win a second one for his mom.
What does this mean for them old picks and bans? Darius, another one that I hope to see Hanwha Life Esports return to. Give me that Darius Vayne lane that I've been talking about. I know it's coming one day.
Darius Vayne.
But first ban on the Alistair. This is for the team that would love to play some Yasuo, so that's very interesting to see. And Taliyah Jungle will be banned every game because it's bonkers. On this patch, it's so strong.
Simply explained, it's bonkers. We're not going to see it.
Again, I saw a jungle Taliyah with Talisman, level 5, and Sorcerer's Boots solo a Drake. And I said, okay, that's a pretty cool story.
Seems balanced, Kappa. Yeah, we're not going to see it. It's bonkers. Lucian gets taken away. Again, another one of these 80 carries that's left over from that old dusty meta, where Lucian is actually good. I guess he wasn't that good in the old meta, but he's good in this meta.
Give us the pike, damn it. But we will not see it in this game, sadly. Waiting for our first pike. We got 6 or 3 best of 3s tomorrow, potentially minimum of 6 games, so plenty of time to look forward to that pike. Don't think he'll keep on the permaban list. Remember that 2 games in a row, Taric has been banned in this series. If you did not catch game 1 of the day, we certainly had some of the scripting action going on when it comes to the boosters.
You missed some stuff, guys. Skarner going to be banned, though, so it's going to be up to Hanwha Life if they want to ban out that Taric.
Skarner ban once again by Griffin on blue side. Okay, Tarek was banned at this pick by Hanwha Life Esports in game number 1 of this series. Do they ban it or do they leave it open? I want to see the world burn, so give me some of that Tarek Master Yi. But sadly, Tarek will be banned. Rise, a very important pick for Griffin, 2 games in a row, and also could be in the mid lane or top lane role. 3-way flex. Do they prize that?
They banned
other good
Kennen.
options.
They banned Kennen in the first game too. Just another champion that's out there. Vladimir seems like a nice choice against one of these flex picks, but not going to first pick the Irelia, which is kind of interesting. They favor the Vladimir over that Irelia in terms of a flex pick.
If Rather was in the lineup, I might understand it a bit more because Rather is actually a Vladimir player.
Yeah.
It's kind of Galio Lulu Vladimir is kind of his effective champion pool. It's utility or the Vlad. One reason you would consider first picking Vlad is you kind of get a free Yasuo if you want it, because you can't run Yasuo into Vlad in the bot lane. So if it affects the bot lane, that can happen, but that's of course the price. You have to give up the Irelia. Where you go with that? Interesting to see. Only 80 carry band is the Lucian, but a lot of other bot lane is open. Darius, as we know, is a big pick for Linderon. Could be considered probably later in the draft. Jungle could be taken at this pick. Pretty big jungle pool. Pretty much untouched, only 2 down, and seems to be jungle. It's going to be the Trundle.
Seems like you're beginning to figure out this meta just a little bit, Papa Smithy.
First round jungle is an old thing. I'm not going to take no pats in the back for myself. It's still 6 more teams. Thanks for that, mate. I knew I could trust you for something, Brendan Valdez. All right, Griffin. You got the nebulous Vladimir, who can go into 3 different roles very comfortably. Jungle something is what we expect in these 2 picks.
Yeah. Could also reach for the Soraka again if they really want to pull that out.
Shen as well? I feel like the Shen was needed for the Nocturne to actually work in the mid game. So will they consider taking that very early? Lehens could play that in the support role. It's something he's played in competitive very recently.
Seen a bit more of that support Shen. Still thinking about it, and they're going to pick that mid laner in Zoe.
Still flexing the Vladimir. Could be in the bot lane role or in the top lane, but Zoe could be answered by a lot of stuff. If you want to take LeBlanc, which is a favorite for Lava, we saw rookie play it, you need to take it now. That would mean the Irelia will be going into bot lane or top lane, but LeBlanc smashes Zoe in the mid lane. Will it just be the Irelia, though?
Darius still left available.
Yeah.
They mentioned it earlier on.
Now, Sungyun could be playing this. There's a lot of flexing still happening. Both Hanwha Life Esports and some other teams have been playing bot lane Darius with Ghost Flash in the bot lane, so yeah, a lot of things still happening. The drafts keep on going. Where will the bans go? In this second round, Soraka's a pretty smart ban, even though Lehens was down on himself after Soraka performance. It deals with a lot of these Bruiser duo lanes, and basically if you want to even consider playing Bruiser, which it doesn't mean they're going to play Bruiser, but they've got 2 that can bot lane, just ban Soraka because E-Max Soraka, 3 points in the E, Summoner Airy, and the Scourge. You just can't lane double Bruiser, so I like the ban of the Soraka.
You really can't. Not sure what's going on in this picture. A Hanwha Life guy is walking down, and then a Griffin leg smashes down.
Okay.
That's just about it. The Hanwha Life guy is on fire. I think he's saying move out of the way. Actually, I saw some Korean, so maybe it's a Hanwha Life fan there. Fiddle, again, another big meta support for you guys who are joining us late to 8.11. That might seem weird.
Alistair Fiddle are kind of the engage / CC bot laners that can lane with Bruisers, and then Soraka's very strong against them. That's why we're seeing a lot of these bans come out, and we do see the Shen, probably a Shen support ban against Griffin. I like the Shen ban. We mentioned already that I think in that previous game, if there was no Shen, then Tarzan would have just died when he had gone in for all those engages. Now he doesn't have that ability to have a support.
This says, remember, guys, for your next solo queue, ban Yasuo. Speaking of banning Yasuo, I mean,
I feel like that PSA falls on like the most receptive audience ever. Yasuo has to be top 3 all-time banned in solo queue.
Yeah, almost every game. Rise makes it through. We might see Sungyun try his hand at that Rise in the bottom lane.
very, very expected. Does also play into standard play styles of AD carries, more so because you don't need to frontline and engage. But the cannon, all right.
There it is.
Probably going to be bot lane cannon, AD cannon, could be hybrid cannon. You see some Rage Blade cannon, but mostly it's just Blade the Ruin King, Frozen Mallet. Blade got a buff in terms of being cheaper, so that's probably going to be the build. Probably just AD cannon. Not necessarily going to even be any AoE on that cannon. Don't have to go into the Hurricane. Looking inside of Griffin, and hello, Dr. Mundo in the top lane. Most likely for Griffin in this particular game. I'm of the opinion that Mundo's really, really strong if he gets through lane. He looks at his opponent and says he can. Not 100% clear on that, but going to be taking the risk with the Mundo. Does trivialize cannon, runs at cannon, and cannon can never kill a Mundo, whatever build he goes.
Yeah. Probably going to be for the top lane. I haven't seen too many Mundo Morgana lanes on the bottom side. But hey,
what percentages you giving?
You never know. In this meta, anything could happen.
And will it be cannon support? It could be Ezreal, but Ezreal also does awfully against Dr. Mundo in the late game. He can do nothing. Mundo can double. And Mundo can just run at these two damage dealers we're seeing on the right side and trivialize them. So it does put the game on a bit of a timer, I would say, for Hanwha Life Esports. Sounds weird to say when it's no ranged AD carry against a team with a ranged AD carry. Yeah. But Mundo actually eats Ezreal for breakfast if he gets his items.
I think he eats anything for breakfast as long as he can get his hands on it.
There's Vayne, and there's some actual anti-carry AD carries that can actually take down a Mundo, but Ezreal is one of the easiest jobs for him. And
definitely true. Yeah, I'm excited to see what that Mundo can do up in the top side. First time we're going to be seeing it here in Korea, at least.
It's actually a siege comp. It doesn't look like one, but Mundo's the best sieging tank of any of them because he has poke with the Q. Obviously, Zoe needs no introduction for there. Morgana very strong in the siege. And then Vladimir and Nocturne kind of lurking and not really fitting in with the friends. Hanwha Life Esports, they want to rotate around. They're going to use Key mostly for engage on this support cannon, a Gorilla special when it comes to LCK support players. And if Linderon can recreate game one, maybe he'll just win the game all on his own.
Well, he's been trying. He even tried in game number 2 on that Gangplank, but wasn't able to quite pull out enough damage, I suppose, even with number 1 in the game. These are the compositions. I think all of you guys are pretty well acquainted with 8-11 right now. I don't really need to explain the weirdness, as everything was thrown out the window in 8.10, and 8.11 is a new horizon for League of Legends. It's been a lot of fun casting tonight with all this weirdness, Papa.
And we just don't feel that we scratched the surface. That's kind of the worry is...
No, there's a lot more.
We have many new champions that could roll out tomorrow when some of the big guns come out to play. But let's focus on the here and the now. Still new stuff. The return of the Darius. Does he go Trinity Force and just dumps to Mundo and lane? That might be a good way to get the ball rolling for HLE.
Could definitely happen. A lot will depend as well on the junglers. Will they focus their attention top, or will we see them going elsewhere, try to work with their mid laners? Maybe Sungwon will just try to get Linderong ahead once again, as he did in game number 3. Looks like we might have a little bit of a delay. Not sure exactly what's going on. Looks like they're testing the sound right now. Just got the word, so gonna have to wait just a little bit.
It's the last game of the day. It's understandable. First day on the patch here in Korea, Spo TV. Some of those memes have been extinguished when it comes to previous issues. Risky to say with the season still plenty of days to go.
Hey,
but
be careful, Papa.
Let's display the percentages nonetheless. Let's hope that Griffin were able to calm down Lahenzu. Maybe the MVP is going to be enough to perk him up, but did look very distraught after game number 2.
Looked really happy, though, when we got him on camera after that last one. Probably just an emotional moment, you know, his first time winning LCK game, and he's got his mom here. He has that support. He's trying his best to make the pro gamer life work, and having his mom's support is always very important.
And we just lose sight of the fact that it is very young players on the side of Griffin. All of the players, rookies. Lahens tried to qualify for the LCK in 2017 on Spenu before that team disbanded. Has been a ladder monster for a long time, but his first LCK match, it's a very different proposition.
And guys, I just got the word that the game is ready, so no more delays as we do get into this one. We will have a winner after game 3 of Griffin versus Hanwha Life Esports. Who's going to take it? Let's find out. Griffin going with the standard chance, rather, that time around. No weirdness, and yeah. they've joined LCK. They've shown that they can come back from behind against a very strong team, and their team fighting very, very clean as you get into the late game. Let's see if they can repeat performance that today.
Not seeing a repeat summoner spell choice from Sangyu. Look at this, going Exhaust on Ezreal. Kind of surprising to see against the lane that he's against. Vladimir in team fights having Exhaust is nice, but we're going to see it in this particular case. I would have thought Heal and Teleport might have held more value against a specific team he's against, just because you're not going to be exhausting that many players, but maybe against Nocturne.
Yeah.
If he's expecting the bot lane ganks, it could be something fruitful.
Bot lane ganks, just a Nocturne in the late game once he gets fed. If he just jumps on top of you, your team doesn't have too much peel, so having that exhaust for yourself is quite nice.
You know what meta it is? When no one takes Gathering Storm, very nice check there by Lehens, does spot the invades. Late invade from Hanwha. Now, this could still be successful. 4 members invested.
Yep, 4 on 4, though. You got Zoe pulling down here as well, but it looks like they might just give it up as Tarzan is just leaving the red buff over to Sungwon. Good engage, or invade, rather, from Hanwha Life.
Vladimir, very weak, level 1. The Q already down on Nocturne. He does nothing, so they're smart to give up any hopes there. I see this top lane matchup. I think Mundo's actually very susceptible in this lane.
Yeah.
Especially in the early levels. You know, you play around with fire, you have health costs on your ability. You pop the ultimate, you just die because you took the initial health cost and you just get ulted by Darius, who can just kill you. So I think it's actually a pretty risky lane early, but obviously enough health and Mundo can roam around as he pleases. This double range is more reliable for Hanwha Life Esports than the double range on the side of Griffin. Cannon has very strong lane presence in every lane, and Ezreal, of course, can poke from range. So for now, zoning in the bot lane for Hanwha.
Good word there from Hanwha, too. Spots out Tarzan trying to go into the red buff. And look at Linderong making his way over the Scuttle Crab. Not going to show himself just
revealed.
yet. Yep. But Tarzan, smart to wait there. Doesn't commit to the red buff. Knows that this is possible. Smart play from him. Does not get caught out.
Thinking back to the runes that we had on the screen earlier, I saw 4 Scorch. Of course, very, very early game rune. In general, no sign of Gathering Storm. So when it comes to playing the long game, no one interested in doing that whatsoever. I welcome it.
It's good, you know. I would certainly welcome it if I were in your shoes as well. You got a lot of games to cast. No 94-minute ones, please. They were fun in their own right, but I am very happily welcoming the new meta.
King Sword already take the first Conqueror trade there. Actually got full stacks the passive down. Did the Darius, the bleed effect happening well. And, well, I like Darius into Mundo. Obviously, the double ranged in bot lane is working because the cannon has the greater lane presence. So it's another draft where Griffin says, well, late game seems pretty good. Are they going to get to late game this time, Valdez? They need to make less mistakes than they did in previous games.
Yeah. Again, I talked about this top lane gank as a possibility from Sungwon, but they had the read on where the Trundle would be. Tarzan is going to run into him, level 3, even though he got 3 buffed. Just going to fear him up and do a bit of damage, force him away.
It's a nice play from Sword. He's still on the edge of safety, but also suckering in the enemy jungler to stay. Top lane is definitely where Sungwon wants to go. If the Darius gets going, he can just decide the game on his own. We already have 1 sample size for that one in game number 1. With Sungyu not having teleport, lane assignment's a little bit less fluid. It is an Ezreal. It is a traditional marksman who cannot have that mobility to go top lane like we saw in game number 1, where Linderong just changed lanes with his Vladimir bot lane as the game went on. Slowly getting somewhere in the lane. He does hit a binding.
Good binding, but no vision in the brush either, so they just, they know they don't have enough damage to really take out Key there. Stick with the binding, maybe push the lane here just a bit.
Very fruitful sort of game for Trundle, given that he has bot lane and top lane a good spot for him, but push finally starts for Viper. Just wants to get his farm on. Already convinced us of the rise now on the other side of the matchup with the Vladimir.
Looks like a potential scuttle here for Sungwon, who I believe that's his second one. Probably got the bottom river one as the top one was taken by Tarzan.
If you go on Nocturne, you're giving up 2v2, so that's why they lose out on that. Now we're seeing an attempt.
He was about to recall, but it's not enough. The stun coming in onto Lehans. He does flash away, and that's going to be enough damage there. Nice apprehend onto Tarzan, forces the flash out of him. First blood given over to Sangyu.
Linderung does complete the turret, and this gives time for Sword to get the farm necessary to get that first Giant Spell, get going on something like a Sunfire Cape, so there will be a cost to this. That's not immediately apparent. Had to wait on the apprehend for a long time because of the duration of the Black Shield. Lava picks up farm. Kill onto Ezreal does start stacking though, as we might see an attempt to null him, but Lava's still level 5.
Yeah, good play at least. Dodges out all the abilities, and Jovi does get away.
It's probably only just a few minions away from level 6. Level 6 is probably a kill there on Jovi, but all they managed to blow was an exhaust this time. Gonna watch the replay. Key was certainly revealed. They didn't know that Trundle was here, but another assertive Gankin. We're gonna see plenty of Lightning Rush into Flash. Ultimus, this is level 4, but he gets the stun anyway. Nicely played by Key.
Good job, and afterwards the pillar comes in from Sungwon, the guy they didn't know was there, but it was enough in the end to get the 1 kill at least.
He being super annoying, just playing in the control ward. Trying to warp this lane and keep the Vladimir down as much as possible. Ancient Coin, pretty common on these Vladimir bot lanes. Don't, of course, see the Relic Shield because the difficulty of the last hit is not as viable as with the Yasuo. When you have a Yasuo bot lane, Relic Shield is going to be the start. Just the coin.
Sungwon coming in here, he is deep, but that pressure in the bot lane, the winning bot lane from Hanwha Life Esports, allows him to confidently move in. Lava now is level 6. Jovi level 7, looking to do a little bit of burst, misses on that one. Lion's also going to miss on the binding, and everybody from Hanwha Life decides, okay, they've sufficiently responded, we're just going to back off and not lose. Here's Sword,
okay,
randomly. Hello. Mundo goes where he pleases, I guess. Makes sense in this one.
Bit of a bad teleport, though, you'd have to say.
Yeah.
Neither of the teleports have really convinced me so far, but still early in the game. Going to be the pretty standard playstyle, as Sungwon will feel kind of in position to invade, honestly, at every moment. They've got a good push in bot lane. Once Aurelia can get there first, then they also have a lot of pick CC, so they'll feel very confident. But this time, members of Griffin collapse first. They get there to defend, so it doesn't end up being a fruitful invade that time for the Trundle.
It's interesting to see the Ezreal AD carry do so well in the lane and push alongside the Kennen with that very aggressive lane-winning Kennen pick as a champion. Kind of unlocks the ability of guys like Ezreal or even Illusion if it wasn't banned in this game.
This is the, just to be clear, this is the Kennen doing the hard lifting and the Ezreal profiting, rather than necessarily Ezreal still going to be able to beat every Vladimir lane. So Kennen having that extra lane presence. Morgana a bit overrated when it comes to facing other range support. She does struggle in the kind of support impact in double range lanes. So Kennen doing his job. Doesn't have flash up. The next time flashes up, ult will be as well. So always have to be on the front foot when it comes to the Black Shield usage as the laning phase extends.
Curious to see if Viper can pull off any magical plays like Sangyun did, but here's level 6 Tarzan and the Ema play coming on in. They want to get someone. The binding is not going to land, and that exhaust you were talking about is enough to keep Tarzan back on that kill, and nobody dies on the side of Hanwha Life.
Yeah, but 3 summoners invested. This time you say worth to not die to what seemed like a huge set-piece play. Linderung has gone very early. Execution is going to win this lane even harder against the Dr. Mundo, is slowly piecing together the Sunfire Cape. Gonna be 2 items, I'd say, before Sword can even hope to farm in the face of the Darius. Has to be very respectful. So 14 CS, certainly not a disaster when it comes to the lane. And the reason why Mundo is popular is, I mentioned the ranged poke of the cleaver when you're grouping. It also is great for range farming as well in lane.
That definitely is, and the early TP that we saw from Linderung into the bot lane helped him with catching up, means that this Mundo is not going to be, 20, 30, even 40 CS here in a moment behind. Instead, it's just going to be held to 20 for now.
Linderung is exposed. Let's see if he gets hit. Okay, does get hit. This is going to be This will be bad.
See you later, Linderong. Not much you can do. Nice little sleepy trouble bubble there out of Toby once again. Very clean. But again, the positioning from Linderong not so great. But at the end of the day, they will get the Infernal Drake. So 1 kill over to the side of Griffin for the Infernal.
Unforced error, you'd have to say. It was the rest of his team on the bot side walking towards the Drake. And he decided, well, I'm strong. I'm just going to go kill this control ward and died for it. So that was certainly not the best use of your time, Linderong.
Yeah.
And now he can't teleport back to the turret. He might try anyway.
He is going to try. Speaking about trying, going for a potential kill into Toby, they turn back around, and Toby says, hey, get out of here, Trundle. This is my lane.
Element of risk going at that from Linderong. There's no ultimate up from Tarzan, so he didn't have that extra bit of burst to try for a turret dive. So he does keep the turret alive, but obviously not very healthy after all the damage put in by Nocturne and Mundo.
It's little things like the Darius play you really have to be careful of. You're winning your lane by a ton, and then all of a sudden one mistake and it can go heavily against you. You can lose your turret, Mundo can begin roaming, and it's just like, not good feels. So Linderong, he's been a bit of the carry, the star player. See if he can do it, but we do have a fight in the bottom lane here. Lehans might be in some trouble. They force the flash over the pillar, and he's just fine.
Clutch binding from Lehans stops the cannon from getting in, and even with flash being used, unable to get anything. So both sides have skillfully avoided ganks that looked like they were going to reap rewards in the early game. I'm struck by the fact that Ezreal, if you guys are wondering why he can still be played, it's this cheap item build to get 2 items and be relevant. It used to be, can you use his 2 items fast enough before you get outscaled? Now it's, well, he builds his 2 items fast enough to not be irrelevant. Funny how the game can change so fast.
Things change just a moment's notice. One patch, I mean, you have over 100 champions. You're gonna, a couple of changes here and there, the meta's gonna totally change, and that's what happens. Top turret, also a thing that happens. It does go down as Griffin, all that gold will go over to Sword in the top lane, and he's equal in CS now, so all of a sudden, one mistake, and your Dr. Mundo's right back in the game.
I truly believe that Mundo will decide this game if it goes late enough because of his ability to shut down Songyun. Now, Aurelia could have an argument with that as Tarzan walks up.
Really nice pillar. They forced that flash out of Tarzan. Sungwon getting a little bit cheeky, running down into the river. Nearly gets hit by the paddle star, but gets out alive, and no harm, no foul.
Songyun doesn't have teleport, so he will not be able to get to the bot lane fast. Was trying to zoom out and understand where everyone else on the map was. Viper and Lehens are stuck around bot lane. Not going to get a lot of damage done. And Vladimir still working on items, so no turret penalty just yet. Look over at the damage dealt so far this game. Some nice paddle stars have been online, but look at that cannon damage. That's lane presence for you, Valdez. He's done 3,000 damage this game, betted only by 1 member of the opposing team.
Yep, only 11 damage ahead of Ezreal, too. So the both of them doing a nice bit of damage. And
it's not been a kind game for Trundle damage charts.
No, I mean 180. What is that really?
A chomp and an auto attack or 2?
Yeah, just about that. Trundles, man, I don't know. I mean, they make sense in the current meta. You get a lot of scuttle crabs and you get a lot of gold and XP, but what does it really mean in the end?
I think you need things like winning lanes, which he does have. This is a good game for the Trundle draft. I'm just trying to point out that with that information, if you don't have this sort of a draft where you have priority in multiple lanes and pick CC to profit on, just don't consider the Trundle. He really only works in games like this.
Yeah. I have to agree. He's doing quite well for himself. Got that assist early on in the bottom lane, and he's up about, 16 CS on the Nocturne right now, so not doing too bad for himself. They're both at level 8, so Tarzan certainly is keeping up in terms of experience.
Tarzan almost has to just farm himself to relevance. He, as we mentioned a couple of times, he doesn't have the Shen to just be a conduit for the Shen into the backline and a bit of extra health. He just needs to ult people and do something with the damage because doesn't really have any utility as the Trundle. And kind of needs Vladimir and Mundo to be the fight decider. So the engaged Nocturne will not happen this game. And with him being so far behind on a pretty farm-intensive champion that goes Duskblade full AD. Slow start for the Nocturne.
Yeah. Again, all that pressure around the Rift Heralds happening once again. Looks like the scuttle was taken by Griffin, but the control wards taken there by Hanwha Life in control. Looks like the Vlad is going to go for Spellbinder first. Just looking at his build. Going to be a little bit of a mix-up. No Morellonomicon, no Proto Belt just yet.
I'd like to see Hanwha find a way to break this bot lane turret. They were able to have Kennen and Ezreal in the mid lane. Ezreal can roam for wards and actually get picks very easily, but it's going to be already a point not worth considering now that just solo, basically. We saw the Zoe take down Aurelia's turret, so now suddenly that sort of lane assignment isn't possible. Keeping Ezreal on the side lane this long is never ideal. But we're going to also look at the jungle matchup, and in one where Sungwon, outside that early gank, has been a lot more mooted than his Elise game, where he honestly was one of the big MVP reasons they won game number 1.
Oh, they're going in. Hemoplague. Or no, Hemoplague. That was actually the Morgana ability. Confusing me a bit with this Vladimir skill. Oh, nice pull there at the last second.
Damn, that was late, but got in there anyway.
Good reaction time, I guess, towards the end. Well, still trying to land bindings as Ezreal is desperately trying to go back and finish that Trinity Force.
Chovy has the Vladimir slowly coming online and also has taken the turret, so that's a really big thing in this Zoe matchup. Usually Aurelia freeze the lane and there's gank attempts. We loved how strong Aurelia Tronda were as a duo. The first couple of ganks didn't happen, and now this awkward spot where Aurelia is going to be much more shallow on the lane unless she starts visiting a side lane. Is this time it's the Hemoplague.
Yeah, they're trying to go in here on the Lava, who's level 11. Viper and Lehens now desperately trying to get out of here. Here's Nocturne onto that Trundle, but the Kennen ultimate gonna stun him down, and Viper, or rather Tarzan, is gonna go down. Viper himself as well.
Into Mundo.
Here's Mundo, though, in the front line. He doesn't die. He's just kiting them forever, too. He's running at everybody, just like you said. Takes out 2 members. Linderong's still a problem, though. Can they take him out? Yes, they can. Especially with Chovy, level 12 now. A quadra kill for the Zoe, popping off.
And Sword just able, because he got that farm, because top lane stabilized, he's pretty damn tanky. He can go where he pleases. Kennen, Ezreal, whoever you want to send, does nothing to Dr. Mundo. And then Chovy does his best AD carry impression, because he rained down the consistent damage in that fight.
Yeah, Chovy, he had a fantastic game number 2 once his Yasuo got online. He says, I can play the Zoe as well. And let's take a look at how that fight actually went down.
It all starts looking a bit weird, right? Because Griffin's like, I'm just going to ult to hopefully start a fight. They're feeling like they can actually just win a fight at any moment if they can get in with the Nocturne ultimate. It proves to be correct. It looks risky. We already know that Tarzan won't do much work in the backline compared to a Kennen. But by the time Mundo shows up, he just solo decides to fight alone. It's 1v3 in some ways, 2v3 in numbers, but Mundo can take out 2 on his own, and Linderong's not there early enough. The fight doesn't happen when Darius chooses it to, and thus the resets never come.
The Nocturne dies early after ulting. Viper gets caught. Lehens is super low. They're not doing anything. It's literally only Sword and Chovy by themselves. Sword in the front line tanking everything. Zoe in the back line, already fed, doing Zoe things from a distance, and just wipes the entire team of Hanwha Life by themselves.
I guess the theory here with the Nocturne is, if he dives the backline and Kennen has to use the ult to peel, they have no engage. So, well, they're going to have to deal with a Zoe just raining in damage. They can't gap close onto the Zoe. They're 2 ranged champions. They're probably going to have to deal with a Dr. Mundo in their face. Mundo dangerously close to this Warmog's Thornmail and deciding the game on his own. They're still looking for this Rift Herald. It's going to be picked up by Hanwha.
Hanwha picks that one up, Binding not able to do much. And let's take a look at that last team fight damage. You can see what the Zoe's able to do if given enough room, and certainly was given enough by the Mundo.
If Aurelia is in melee range of the Zoe, that's a sign of a good fight for Hanwha Life. Kennen's there too, bonus points. If the Dr. Mundo's in the face of the Ezreal, that's a good fight for Griffin. So that's kind of what you guys need to be gravitating towards. Is that the consistent damage is largely going to be, until maybe a couple more items on Viper, the battle of Zoe versus Ezreal, both of them poke champions, sometimes duo together. His Sword definitely doesn't respect the Darius in the same way he did earlier.
I mean, if he's got a Nocturne with him as well and a Zoe leaning this way, Darius going to be in a lot of trouble. Not much that he can do. Maybe he can pull off the miracle onto Nocturne. The answer is no. They're going to get the shutdown there onto Linderong. Another kill, as he's 1-3-1 in this game.
And now the 1-3-1. Which is a pretty prophetic point there, but the 1-3-1 is also in the comp as well. No one can handle the Mundo's top lane.
He gets binded up here, does the Ezreal, really struggling, but he survives in the end. That health potion ticking, and might just be the biggest bait of all, but he hops in after his ult runs out, and it's not going to be enough. The Ezreal ult goes wide onto Viper, and it actually goes in the favor of Griffin.
Viper plays these skirmishes so well. He's able to stay out of the range of the ultimate slicing maelstrom and then heals and pulls his way to safety. Nice stuff there. Now we're seeing the second person sent into level 14, Dr. Mundo, and Aurelia's not going to have a happier time than Darius, that's for sure.
And as we stand for now, the healing reduction only remains on the side of Darius. Of course, they do have the ignites. Right now, only Lava has his up, but I think at the end of that last fight, they didn't really have much healing reduction. He was just running at them, and as he gets more and more tanky, that 1-0-5 Mundo could be seeing some better numbers.
It's always a rock, paper, scissors when it comes to meta. I thought the Binding would just decide this fight for Sungyun, but he lives for so long.
One auto.
But the person that kills Dr. Mundo is the hyper carry. Hyper carries are the most out of the meta right now. Crit is very hard to itemize. No one is picking champions that can kill Dr. Mundo. If he gets through lane, which is difficult, we saw how he struggled against Darius, but if he gets through lane, he outscales basically every meta patch 8.11 comp.
Yeah, and you know, unfortunately, Linderong helped him get through the lane as well. A couple of mistakes, and all of a sudden, our Dr. Mundo is equal with the Darius in CS and takes first blood turret. That's one fed Dr. Mundo.
Yeah, he's got Warmock's Sunfire Cape, so he doesn't die. Doesn't even matter. The interesting stat is that the interesting stat is Alhans just decides to waste his stopwatch. Very nicely done.
I love the observer zooming in too. He's like, "Hey, look at this! He messed up, Mom."
Brutal.
Your son's not perfect after all. Poor Alhans.
Sad times. The fun stat is that if you are Dr. Mundo and Ultimate at level 16, if there's an Ignite on you, you still heal more than the old Ultimate. That's how much it was buffed, is that the healing reduction...
it was a big buff.
It was a massive buff. It was toned down a little bit in patch 8.10, but I know why I perma-banned Dr. Mundo, because, look, in solo queue, sometimes the game's over before Dr. Mundo as well, and sometimes he just dies in lane, it doesn't matter, but also, if he hits his items, he just wins the game alone. And this is certainly one of those games.
Especially with the guy who plays a lot of Dr. Mundo and knows the potential of just how much you're not going to die. It's annoying, to say the least.
And everyone's feeling it on the side of Hanwha Life Esports. Sword continues to push. Nocturne has some damage, but he's kind of in a weird spot where he's just diving and watching the rest of his team clean up. Not going to be the best KDA game ever for Nocturne, but at least to his credit right now, has positive kills to death. Sword walks up. Hanwha Life really have 1-3-1 only, because we've already outlined they have very poor engage and they're losing the 1-3-1. So kind of waiting for Griffin to push up their vision line and then play around the Baron, which is probably the next thing on the menu.
Yeah. It just recently passed over that 20-minute mark. We're here at 23.5 minutes. So no gigantic team fight has lent them into just rushing into a Baron just yet. They're going to have to do it the old-fashioned way. And you mentioned how they have a bit of a poke comp with the Zoe. You can always use these walls over in the red side alongside with cleavers if they really wanted to try to force a pick over towards the Baron.
Not many champions can wave clear in mid and help their jungle support invading for vision, but because of that nature with the walls, the Zoe does have some kind of positioning advantages around mid that other people aren't aware to. And small point in this game that we never really returned to, Aurelia losing that turret early has really meant that mid priority, which we weren't expecting with Nocturne Zoe, has been reliable for the side of Griffin in a way that it probably shouldn't have been. If you're the coach, I think that's one of the things you point to and say, this should never have happened with how we went for the draft. This is an unexpected variable from how the game was supposed to go.
That went down really early as well. I mean, I think that was even before that big fight down towards the bottom side where the Zoe got a quadra kill. And that's saying a lot. Just one based off of winning, the lane alone without a kill. So certainly they could have attempted to keep that up and available. Mountain Drake is going to be really good, actually, if they do want to burst down that Baron. They don't necessarily have the best Baron team after all.
Mundo, always pretty good at Baron and Nocturne as well, but you're right, Vladimir and Zoe not fantastic. They're better about the turn off Baron than they are for actually taking it. Here is that invasion for Vision, though. They're certainly considering that Baron. Chovy gets to be annoying. He has the zone use, so whether it's Kennen or Aurelia getting in space, the Zoe can be pushed up a bit further with that extra item.
Well, they get a sleep here onto the Trundle, and Lehens is getting jumped on. Here's Lava.
Here's Mundo, too.
Yeah, 2 TPs, gonna get on top of Sungwon, and the ultimate's gonna come down here. Key in the front, trying to stun everybody down. Perfect. Sonya's right at the last second. Does have to flash away, though. They have enough damage to finally take out Viper, but down goes the Darius, and here comes Mr. Mundo. Coming on in. And a nice little snipe there onto Lava by the Nocturne. Sword is going to get low enough, but Chovy in the front line may be able to do enough damage. There is that exhaust, and he takes them out. So many low members on the side of Griffin, but they win the fight.
They win the team fight, and Sword gets his Warmark ceiling. Hello, says 100 health every single tick. They'll turn on to Baron, and Griffin wanted that objective. That's the last thing they were looking for. They're going to get it now.
Nicely done. They have the tank in here from Sword, as you mentioned. The Warmogs coming in. A very close fight in that one, but Mundo reigns supreme once again. And Chovy, I have to say it, this guy is really mechanically skilled, super clean in these fights.
He almost died to Baron there, and that would have been a funny thing. That would have been the cost of curse.
That would have been perfect.
Well, Vladimir really wants a red buff, I guess, as he actually used teleport for it. Purely for a red buff. Cool. There you go, Viper. That's definitely his 80 carry days coming back to him.
He doesn't have a kill, so he wants a red buff, I guess.
Let's watch the replay. Remember, they're poking with the Zoe and the Morgana, but all the damage onto Lehens baits Hanwha Life Esports to go in, but the deep ward put in lets Mundo get into the backline. Consider how many abilities are used on him. The ultimate's largely just to peel him.
Really,
the Nocturne comes in later, so it does fall low. He flashes in because he's looking for kills at the end of this. He thought he could just kill Key with his Burning Agony, but isn't in range. The flash from Tarzan almost gets a double kill. That's what I was exclaiming about. Everyone falls low, but Chovy on the side of the fight. Team fight Zoe something I think everyone can get behind. The one shot with Paddle Stars, we definitely don't feel good about those. But when you weave in the team fight damage.
In live, Linderong nearly dies. You were talking about the one shots from Zoe.
Yep.
Pertinent.
Those I cringe at, but when they pull off the cool moves, getting full value of the W passive and things like that, then I get a bit more excited.
Well, our resident Zoe here, Chovy, 5-0-5. Working on his 4th item right now. Most damage in that fight actually goes to Songyun. Did a lot of poking to Lehens in the beginning, and he survived for the majority of the fight. So an Ezreal that's beginning to do some consistent damage as we reach 30 minutes. Something to think about as this game goes longer.
So having that struggle to get any value at Linderong did some damage. We're not seeing Reset City like we were in game number 1. This was a blind pick Darius, and they had a lot more time to consider their composition before things went further. Viper's playing the side lane, and this is the other side of the coin again. We mentioned that Songyun was very strong in lane on a non-traditional bot laner, whereas Viper's team fighting and out of lane was better. Now Viper's tasked with split pushing again, something you don't see so much in AD carries, and so far again, that's where we think he's thrived outside of the laning phase.
A Baron push coming on in here. They're looking for that tier 2 in the top lane. No inhibitor turrets taken out just yet, and only a minute left on the Baron. Let's see how much they want to push this Baron power play.
Another minute or so, so on the minion wave after this one goes down. Chovy.
Oh, okay. Hello. The sleep's going to come in. They're diving bottom lane here. Linderong in a lot of trouble. And actually, the Trundle does die. Useless as ever, and Linderong getting low too. Viper going to be able to do that damage. Sword coming in for the alley-oop. Does pick up the kill. And that should do it. 2 kills on the side of Hanwha Life. They do go down, and Griffin going to take every inhibitor and look to end this game.
A series of 2 halves for sure. Griffin will win the game here. You'd have to think unless Lava can pull off something amazing.
They're beginning to do incredible damage. Lava going all alone here. Songyun doing his best in the back line, but they are just too far behind at this point. Just about 18,000 damage, and Griffin, coming into their first series, are going to be able to win it here up against Hanwha Life, a fantastic team, but not good enough tonight. Griffin take the 2-1 victory.
Griffin goes 17-0 in domestic play in Korea, 16-0, making it through the promotion tournament, 1-0 in their first LCK series. But man, 20 minutes into the first series, so into the second game of this series, we thought it was going to be a 2-0 for Hanwha Life. They were way ahead. The late game team fighting just about stuck the landing for Griffin in game number 2. But in game number 3, the Dr. Mundo draft, and also getting through the laning phase after a mistake from Linderong on the champion he carried his team to victory on in game number 1, the Darius, was compounded by the Ezreal pick. Ezreal Kennen may have had the 2v2, but they basically said, this game will reach a point where we cannot beat Dr. Mundo in 5v5s, and that point came too early for Hanwha Life Esports to win this series.
Yeah, and we've seen Hanwha Life, formerly Rocks Tigers, we've seen them get close in the past and fall just barely short. It happens again here in the first series of Summer 2018. Could be foreshadowing for what could be another disappointing series, but for me, I feel like this should be a wake-up call. You're losing to a team that came out of Challengers. They're a good team, but you come in here and you just, you get so close, but you throw it away. You can't be making mistakes like that here in LCK.
I'm sure Rather's going to be really kicking himself because now Chovy is easily going to be the starter, you'd have to think, for at least their next series. Has to get the benefit of the doubt after having a very strong couple of games. This is where Linderong, really made things hard. His team was taking an Infernal Drake, went for a solo invade, was taken down from this, and this really stabilized things for the Mundo in particular. A 30 CS lead became an even laning phase, and then every replay you see from this point onwards, didn't matter what the Nocturne was doing, Mundo walked up, and everyone just got burned down by the Mundo. Mundo
and Zoe in the back line. They were all trying to kill the Mundo. Maybe if they tried to turn onto the Zoe, it might have worked a little bit better. But Mundo survives with full health, as does Zoe, and they clean up that fight. That's the big one that gets Griffin ahead.
From there, they attacked him a couple more times, and then Darius really did nothing. I didn't see one Noxian Guillotine kill as the game went on. There were some very close fights. This one was well played by Viper, who fell so low. This is what I'm going to credit him. Watch him scouting the out and getting out of this fight. Did not die, but a turnaround kill as well. With enemy support going down, Griffin in the fights. Again, we're still not convinced about their laning phases, but in the fights, they show us why they held so much hype when it came to the Challenger Series.
Poor Trundle. This entire day was not necessarily a good showing for Trundle overall as a champion. We'll see if it remains towards the top with its strength in the early game. I would imagine so. But the win does go over to Griffin. Nice damage there from Zoe. And again, the majority of that was not even really just one-shotting people. It was just great team fighting with the help of Mundo.
Good team fighting from the Zoe is something we can compliment. The one-shots, we always shudder a bit about it. Ended up being a pretty equal graph, or at least a pretty one-way graph when it came to just constantly growing a lead. I believe that 10 to 13 minute mark was when we saw that clip of the Darius making a bit of a boo-boo on the top side.
Oh, yeah.
Well-deserved victory in the end by Griffin, but I do hold them to the criticism that if they play these early games against increasingly better teams in Korea, other teams beat them 2-0.
Yeah, would have to agree. I mean, they came close as well to just losing 0-2 in their first series of LCK. That would have felt bad, believe me. And be curious to see. I don't have the sheets right in front of me, but I'm curious to see who they face. It's going to be either MVP or BBQ on Thursday.
I believe it's MVP, so both teams coming off a victory will be playing each other. That means that both teams coming off a loss will be playing each other as well, as we have a bit of musical chairs when it comes to these early match days.
So guys, the MVP is ready. Let's see who it's going to be. Could be Chovy again, honestly. Could also be up in the top lane, but it will be Chovy. And he does get 2 MVPs.
No, Whistle Hens in game number 2.
Right.
We thought it was going to be Chovy, but Chovy, back-to-back, he definitely backed up his performance with a really good play.
Yeah.
New player to the scene. And a bit of cheers from the crowd as well. 6-0-6. Reminds me of Edge and Tempt and some of our other great Zoe players that we had when she was certainly a bit bonkers overpowered.
Yeah, so I'm going to hand it over to Ji-Sun, who will help out with the translation from these 2 Griffin players.
with your interview translation. Today, Griffin picked up 2-1 victory against Hanwha Life Esports. So let's hear from the MVPs, Lihans and Chovy.
지금도 팬 여러분들께서 굉장히 마음 졸이면서 지켜보셨어요. 1세트 끝나고 난 다음에 그 부스 분위기 자체가
Lihans, I saw you crying after winning the game too.
어떻습니까? 지금은 좀 괜찮아요.
How are you feeling at that moment?
저는 이제 코어 장전 선수처럼 울면 항상 롤드컵 우승하더라고요. 그래서 롤드컵 우승할 거를 하고
I just want to be a great supporter like Core JJ, winning up the World Series at the end of the year.
네, 그렇죠.
And it was as meaningful for me picking up the first victory in LCK just as winning the Worlds. So let's move on to Chovy then.
아니요, 01년생? 2001년생 아니에요?
I heard you were born in 2001.
미안해요, 잘 안 들렸죠. 사실 그 지난 그 영상에서도 그 초비 선수에 대한 그 얼굴 나올 때마다 팬 여러분들께서
And there were a lot of curiosity going on around you.
이런 얘기를 해주셨는데 어떻습니까? 좀 떨리지
So how was your first match in LCK?
긴장되는데 재밌었어요.
어떤 장면이
I was really
제일
nervous.
가장 재밌는 순간?
저 인터뷰 나올까요?
네. 아니 오늘 경기.
오늘 경기요.
But here at the interview, I think I'm not really that nervous as I thought.
그냥 경기한 거 자체가 재밌었어요.
I think I really enjoyed the game.
편안하게 말을 하네요. 도리어 리엔즈 선수가 굳은 것 같아요. 지금 약간 손도 막 움직이는 그런 장면이 있고 동생이 이러는데.
네, 오늘 초비 선수가 정말 잘해줬어요.
Yeah, today I think Chovy really did play well in mid lane.
초비 선수가 좀 잘해줬던 것도 맞는 것 같아요. 다 같이 잘했지만.
So even though he's younger than me, I think he really performed really
리엔즈
well.
선수가 이런 컬러 아니지 않아요? 그래서요. 리엔즈 선수가 이런 컬러가 아닌 걸로 알고 있는데 지금 굉장히 오늘 좀 겸손한.
I think Lian's got a little bit more nicer than he usually does in streams, right?
안쪽 코칭 스텝이 어떤 얘기를 좀 해줬어요? 2세트에 들어가서 뭘 보였으면 좋겠다라는 뭐 따로 이런
So what
얘기들이
kind of
있었나요?
strategy did you guys try to bring up today?
그럼 뭘 준비했길래 내가 지금 2세트 등장했다고 생각해요?
그냥 원래 뭐라고 해야 되지 정리가 안 돼요.
정리하면 나중에 얘기합니다. 우리가
Well,
정리할 때는
actually, I
꽃
can't
보게
really
됐고,
wrap up right now.
강남은 첫 번째 승리를 따냈기 때문에 특별히 우리 꽃을 준비했어요. 제가 꽃다발을 드리긴 약간 민망해서 화분을 준비했거든요. 이거 갈 때 갖고
So
가시면 돼요.
to celebrate your first victory in LCK, we prepared this flower pot for you guys.
네, 시간 때 가져가시길 바랬고 오늘도 뭐 응원을 좀 뭐 많이 오신 것 같아요.
And here there are a lot of crowds supporting for Griffin today.
아, 부모님 오셨어요?
네.
네.
Well, actually today my parents are out here to support me, so I'm really thankful for them.
아마 2세트 끝나고 리엔즈 선수의 눈물을 보고 좀 약간 가슴 아파서 딴 데서 보시는 것 같다는 생각이 드는데 오시고 부모님께 한 말씀 해주셔야죠.
Is there any other message you want to tell your parents?
네, 정말로 가시긴 했지만 가신 것 같아요. 네.
Thank you so much, and I love you.
감사합니다, 부모님.
네, 일단은 뭐 초비 선수도 이제 오늘 개막전 경기 어떻게 등판하는 게 예고가 돼 있었던 거예요. 오늘 경기 나오는 게 애초에 좀 구성이 돼
Well,
있었던 거예요.
and Chovy, you are actually subbed in game 2. How did you feel?
아 그렇게 돼 있었어요? 나왔었을 때 그러면 응원하는 분들에게 좀 얘기를 하고 나오진 않았어요? 나 오늘 나온다.
So what kind of
LCK
feedback
개막전 나온다. 이런 얘기 좀 했을 것 같은데.
Went back and forth in the waiting room.
그냥 얘기 안 해줬어요.
몰래 나왔어요? 그럼 친구들 지금 엄청 놀랐겠네요 지금.
Well,
영상을
I
보고.
wasn't actually that ready, so I was a little bit surprised.
딱히 친구들한테 별로 말 안 했어요.
아니 좀 LCK 지금 올라온
But
때
me
얘기 안
and
했어요?
my other mid laner, we are not that competitive with each other, so yeah, I felt a little bit comfortable actually. We are good friends.
생겼습니다만 마음만은 변함이 없이 아마 초비 선수를 어딘가에 응원하고 있을 거예요. 지금 초비 선수를 응원하고 있는 그 팬이 아니라 친구한테 한마디 해준다면요.
Is there any last message you want to tell your fans supporting
응원해줘.
so enthusiastically today?
응원해줘. 왜냐면 내가 니네들과
I
시간
appreciate
멀어졌지만
all the love and
LCK
support. Thank you.
올라왔고 지금 당당히 내가 MVP를 탔잖니라는 얘기를 줄여서 얘기한 거죠.
할게요.
그런 거예요. 자 이런 거예요. 자,
Yeah, exactly. I want to say thank you to all my fans.
그러면 이제 밴픽 관련된 내용을 좀 한번 여쭤볼게요. 사실 궁금해하시는 분들이 상당히 많아가지고
And there are a lot of questions about the team comp you guys brought today.
3세트 22분 때에 초시계는 과연 무엇이라는 질문이
So why did you buy the stopwatch in the late game in the third match?
네, 그때 그걸 해명하자면
네.
Well, to explain that,
2번과 5번 아이템을 바꾸다가
음흠.
실수를 나서
네.
제가 노랗게 변한 게 아닐까.
I thought it was good for me to get the stopwatch to survive a little bit longer in the team fight.
아, 그렇죠. 그렇게 되죠.
어쨌든 문제 없었으니까.
Yeah, I think it ended up
문제
all right.
없었으니까. 그리고 그 외에도 오늘 라이즈에 관련된 궁금증들을 많이 말씀하시더라고요. 팀 내에서
Another
연습했었을
question is
때
that the AD
상대편
carry
그
Rise in bot
라이즈에
lane.
뭐 특별히 이유가 있었나요? 좀 자신감이 있었어요?
라이즈 같은 경우에는 이제 블라디미르의 카운터로 많이 이제
I think it's a counter pick for Vladimir in bot lane.
그거를 원딜로 쓰든 미드로 쓰든 좋은 픽 같아서.
So I think it has good synergy with other supporter in the bot lane. So that's why I practice it so hard.
게임 결과도 나쁘지 않아요.
And yeah, I think it was a
그
good pick
말씀드린 김에
to bring up to the bot lane. So I played it today.
얘기가 있었어요. 다리우스가 도리어 문도 이쪽 아니냐? 뭐 이런 얘기가 있었는데 문도를 후픽으로 잡았단 말이죠.
Then why did you guys pick
자신감이 있기 때문에 그런 건지
Dr. Mundo after against Darius in top lane?
다리우스 문도 같은 경우에는 제가 한번 물어봤었는데
네.
다리우스가 좀 유리하긴 하지만
Well, I know that Darius has a little bit of priority, but
하고 말을 많이
our top laner had a lot of confidence playing
그만큼 어떻게 보면
in that
호반을
matchup,
버틸 수 있을
so
만한
I just
자신감이 있었기 때문에
believed in
그런
him.
모습이 있었던 것 같은데 초비 선수는 뭐 전혀 안 떨린가 봐요.
And Chovy, you don't really seem nervous at all.
들어왔을 때 떨렸어요.
그때
Well,
떨렸어요?
when I was
그때 뭐
subbed in the
주변
game
형들이
too, I
뭐라고
was really nervous.
긴장하지 말라고?
전 긴장한 티를 내지는 않았어요.
지금은 긴장하고 있는 거예요? 안 하고 있는
Then,
거예요?
are you nervous right now?
지금은 긴장돼요.
지금 긴장돼요? 왜 긴장돼요?
Well, I'm a little bit nervous right now also,
만세주가 없어서.
지금 되게 잘하고 있잖아요.
because I'm not a really good speaker, so I'm a little bit nervous having this
몰랐어요?
interview here.
새로운 재능을 지금 이 인터뷰를 통해서 찾아낸 거예요. 말 잘하잖아요. 그렇잖아요. 일단은 어떻게 보면 지금 그리핀이라는 이름 자체가 팬들에게 나설 수 있습니다. 워낙 그 챌린지
Well,
코리아에서는
you guys are the new faces of LCK, so
앞으로 이게 LCK
is
내에서
there
그리핀이
any
어떤
message you want to
모습으로
tell
보여줬으면 좋겠어요?
the crowd here?
조비 선수는?
저는 계속 좋은 모습만 보여주고 싶어요.
계속 오늘 같은
I'm gonna
좋은
keep
모습.
up with this
오늘
hard
조이가
work.
엄청 좋은 모습 봤는데 더 좋은 모습 준비할 만한 그런 챔피언 있어요?
And I want to show better performance to all the LCK fans.
이거보다 이렐리아는 더 괜찮다.
네.
이렐리아 내 앞에서 놔주지 마라 이런 뉘앙스인데.
And I can say I'm really confident in playing Irelia in mid lane.
있을 것 같아요. 내가 진짜 사실은 챌린지 코리아에서도 좋은 장면 많이 있었지만 LCK 올라갔을 때는 이 미드하고는 한번 붙어보고 싶다는 생각 혹시 한 선수 있어요?
So weren't you really nervous playing in the tournament in the real LCK stage? Well, not
바로
actually.
전설과네. 바로 페이커 선수와 붙었을 때 머릿속에 생각한 그림들이 좀 있어요? 어떻게 하겠다?
일단 라인전부터 잘해야 될 것 같아요.
그만큼 잘하니까 페이커 선수가.
네,
Well, I
라인전이
think
워낙
as a mid laner playing
네.
Rise well is really
그때도 긴장을
important.
좀 많이 할 것 같은데 그래도 아무리 전설이고 존중하는 선수지만 이겨내면 좀 더 분명히 그 팀 단위에서 좋을 수 있을 거니까 자신감 분명히 있는 거죠?
So you
네.
seem really confident.
자신감 갖고 좋은
Yes, I
경기
am.
한번 기대해 보도록 하겠습니다. 리안즈 선수도 사실 워낙에 밝은 장면이나
Moving on
예전부터
to
팬들에게
Lihan.
좀 안심을 시켜주는 이야기를 많이 해주셔가지고
네.
그랬는데
You look
일단
really
팀
nervous today,
내에서
but
바이퍼 선수가 인터뷰에서 그런 얘기를 했었죠. 정말
I heard that Viper is very entertaining player in your team, so
뭐 이런 얘기가 있더라고요.
and
거기에
I
대해서
heard
한
he's
마디
really
있을 것 같아요.
confident.
그거는 정말
Coming into
잘못된
LCK.
그 사실이고요.
네.
그리고 제가 생각보다 밝지만 팀에서도
Well,
또 굉장히
me and Viper, we are both
서열이
very bright as
카리스마도
person.
있고. 그래서 그런 이야기는 제가 처음 들어본 것 같아요.
저도 카리스마라는
So
단어를
I
처음
think we have
들어본 것
very
같아요.
good
지금
synergy.
어떤 카리스마요? 자 카메라를 향해서 카리스마 한번.
그거는
여기 카리스마 눈빛 카리스마 눈빛.
And the breaking news that Lihan's I don't really melt down a lot.
리엔 선수 나는
Like,
개복
Lian
진행
said I don't really
아니야라고
tilt a
저희가
lot
공식적으로
during the game.
말씀드렸으니까 분명히 앞으로도 멋진 장면 한번 기대해 보도록 하겠습니다. 내용들을 좀 이 얘기 저에게 좀 많이 한번 전해드렸는데 사실상 지난번에는 승강전 이겨내고 LCK 진출이 목표였던 것 같은데
So
이제 첫
I
번째
know
개막전
that
경기 좀
the
따냈잖아요.
goal for last
목표가
season
분명히
was
갈것
reaching
같아요.
to the
그리고
LCK. Then
감독님들이나
what is the new
팀원
goal?
동료들 간에
for the
얘기도 분명히
current
있을
season?
것 같거든요. LCK 올라와서 초비 선수는 뭘 이뤄내고 싶어요? 이번 스플릿 때.
모든 팀들도 똑같겠지만 썸머 우승하고 싶어요.
Just as other teams, I want to win the Summer
올라온
Split.
게 아니라 우승하고 싶다는 게 조비 선수의 이야기. 팩 있는 그런 얘기였고 리엔지 선수.
What about you,
카리스마의
Lihan?
리엔지. 뭘 이뤄내고 싶습니까?
What is your goal for the
저도,
Summer Split?
소비 선수처럼
As Chovy said,
썸머 우승을 지향하지만
I wanna be the champion of the Summer Split.
가도 되게 좋을 것 같아요.
but
여기는
that
뭐
seems
플레이오프
to
근처까지
be a really
가겠습니다만 아까 전에 그 눈물을
big goal
통해서
for me
노을드
for
우승을
now.
차지하겠다는 마음은 속마음 속에 있는 거네요.
롤드컵 우승하고 싶습니다.
Well, I actually want to win the world later on.
선수 이야기를 한번 들어봤습니다. 오늘 사실 그 그리핀 팬 여러분들께서는 막 설레시면서 오늘 경기를 지켜보셨을 것 같은데
So there are a lot of fans out here and watching you online.
오신 그 그리핀 현장의 팬 여러분께 한 말씀 좀
So
부탁드릴게요.
is there any last message
네,
for your
오늘
fans?
저희 경기 챙겨봐 주신 팬분들,
Thank you
관계자분들
for
정말
supporting
감사하고요.
us.
그리고 저희가 아직은 많이 부족하고
I know we are not
부족한
performing
부분도
that
많이
well
알고
right now,
있으니까
but
더 나아지는 모습
we're gonna
많이
keep up with
보여드리고
our hard work.
거고요.
So we're ready to
저희
show
많은
better
힘이 돼서
performance in the later
더
season.
발전하는 모습 많이 보여드리겠습니다. 감사합니다.
Thank you
네,
so much.
맞습니다. 지금까지 그리핀의 MVP 두 명의 선수입니다. 큰 박수
This
부탁드리겠습니다.
will be the end of the interview with MVPs from Griffin.
Well, guys, we're back off the camera, and the day actually went longer than we thought it would. These games went almost to 30 minutes, and one of them actually went to 37 minutes, and it went all the way to Game 3. Not what we were expecting, but Griffin pulled the rabbit out of the hat at the last second, able to win that last team fight before having their inhibitor broken and potentially the base, and that means that they will win today. And they're going to face off against MVP on Thursday. If you guys are new fans of Griffin and you want to watch them next time, certainly tune in then.
Pretty cool that one of those teams will be 2-0, ending their first couple of games as the leading team in the standings. Of course, purely because of schedule. Speaking of schedule, tomorrow is a Super
baby.
Wednesday, guys. There will be 4 Super Wednesdays. By that I mean 3 best of 3 days at the Esports Stadium. We will have Kingzone versus Gen G. So the world champions against the double LCK champions in the former KSV and Samsung versus Kingzone. Afrika versus SKT. After that, the third match of the day will also be Jin versus KT. So a lot of our expected contenders will play tomorrow.
It's going to be a big day. Cannot wait to watch that. I'll be in the chat with all of you guys in the Twitch chat. You and Atlas, I believe, will be holding down the fort for that Super
Spoilers.
Wednesday.
Yeah, it'll
oh
be
my
Atlas.
God. Sorry about that. Spoiled the OGN lineup. You guys might not have guessed that Atlas was casting.
It could have been Achilleos.
I know,
possible.
but they both start with A. Is there really any difference?
I mean, people can't tell the difference between my play-by-plays, which is really weird. One of them is
I know.
Australian.
I love just getting the messages like to my Twitter. I'm like, Achilleos, you were so good today. I'm like, you're tweeting at Brendan Valdez. Like,
But look, if Achilleos is casting at least another American.
It's
Atlas
true.
is
It's
literally
true.
Australian.
You and Atlas kind of, they go together, right? And then me and Achilleos is like, okay, you got the American accent going on. But some guys out there, some special guys, they're like, well, I'm not sure. And that's totally fine.
I'm sure of one thing. It's going to be a hot summer. We're always sweating a little bit,
yeah.
even though we're in the short sleeves, no jacket. It's hot summer here in Korea. LCK Summer, we're only touching the surface. We really still have so much to learn about the strength of teams, about patch 8.11. What'll be big tomorrow? I feel like almost every day we're going to have a new pick that's almost expected to be banned when different teams are playing, and the meta will not be agreed upon, I think, for a couple of weeks still.
Yeah. And at the end of it all, we don't really know what we figured out from today. It's going to be a wild ride. Join us again on Wednesday. Papa and Atlas will see you there. See you next time here at SPO TV.
I see you always wanna go somewhere to waste your gold.
It's been many days, many ways misled, knowing that I'm tiptoeing on both sides of the fence, trying to figure it out, but I'm living in doubt. So scared one day that your grace might run out, cause I'm so far from perfect, so close to worthless, feeling no good for worship, trying to understand this life that you purchased. Am I just a man destined for death, or do I deserve it? You died for my sins and that's the verdict. You carried out God's true will and purpose with urgency for the sake of love, forgiveness and eternity. Your grace is enough. I got so many questions, so many things to change. I'm calling out, but sometimes you're far away. I get discouraged and seem to always fall flat, but that's when you pick me up and bring me back.